everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back, and thank you for supporting me. I'm Coretta. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I sublimated a 40-ounce tumbler. Come on, y'all. Let's get started. For this project, I will be using a 40-ounce sublimation tumbler. I will be using sublimation paper 8.5 by 14. I will be using heat tape, shrink wrap, a heat gun, and a fraction measuring tape. And this measuring tape has the fractions on it to help you easily convert it to decimals. I will leave a list of these items in the description of this video. So to start, I am going to measure my tumbler. You should always measure your tumbler because all tumbler sizes are not the same. To print, I will be using Silhouette Studio Business Edition. You can also use the free version for printing. The first thing I'm going to do is select Page Setup on the right toolbar, and it is the first icon. I am going to change my media size to 8.5 by 14. So I'm going to change leave my width at 8.5 and change my height to 14. And then I'm going to select the landscape orientation. Next, I am going to select File on the top of menu. I'm going to select Print Page Setup. And then I'm just going to make sure that my paper size is on legal and that my orientation is on landscape. And once I'm finished with that, I'm going to hit OK, and I'll be back on the canvas. Now I am ready to set up my design. So I am going to add the image to the canvas. And to do this, I am going to select File on the top menu. I'm going to select Merge. I'm going to navigate to where the design is located, and then I'm going to select my design and then hit OK. When the PNG comes on the canvas, it may have a red outline. Although it will not print, I still am going to remove it. To remove the red outline, I'm going to make sure that my design is selected. And on the right toolbar, I am going to select the Line Style panel. And then I'm going to select the second icon. And then I'm going to select None, which is the square with the X inside of it. Next, I am going to size my design. I'm going to make sure that the design is selected, and on the top toolbar, I am going to unlock the aspect ratio, and then I'm going to change my width to 12.625 and hit enter. And then I'm going to change my height to 5.375 and hit enter. Now the design is sized and I am ready to print. So I'm just going to move the design to the middle of the canvas because I want to make sure that it is inside of the print borders. And then I'm going to print. So to print, I am going to go to the top menu and select File. And then I'm going to select Print. The print preview will open. Here is where you can check to make sure that your image or your design is within the print borders. And once satisfied, I'm going to select print. I am going to select my sublimation printer. Then I'm going to select preferences. I am going to select my A-Sub 8x14 Premium Presentation Matte preset. And then I am going to I'm going to make sure that my document size is on legal 8.5x14. I want to change your orientation to landscape. I want to change my, make sure my paper type is Premium Presentation Paper Matte. My quality is on high, my color, and then I'm going to select more options. And then I'm going to make sure that high speed is not checked. And I'm going to check to make sure that mirror image is checked. Then I'm going to hit OK and then print. Once the design has printed, I am going to cut the design to size by cutting off the white edges. You want to make sure you cut all the white edges off so that it will not be any unwanted white spaces on your tumbler. So to cut my design, I am going to be using a ruler and an X-Acto knife. So before I place my image on the tumbler, I need to remove the 2 screws so that I can remove the handle. So there's a screw here and there's a screw here. So I need to remove those 2 screws to remove the handle so that I can wrap my image around the tumbler. Before I put my design on my tumbler, I am going to clean it with alcohol to remove any oil or anything that may interfere with the sublimation process. And so I'm just going to clean it with alcohol. Now I'm going to place the design on the tumbler, and I want the seam to be lined up with the 2 handle tabs. And so I'm just going to place the tumbler on my design, and then I'm just going to line it up so that the seam is in the back where the handle tabs are. And here I have the design lined up how I want it. I'm making sure that it's straight on the tumbler. I am going to take my fingers and squeeze where the tabs are to make a line here where the tabs are. And I'm just gonna use my fingernails to make some indentions there. And then after I make the indentions, then I'm just going to use a pencil to mark where those indentions are, the full length of the tab over here on both sides. Like that. I'm sorry if my hands are in the way, but all I did was mark the design where the tabs are located right here, and the same thing on this side right here. I just marked it. And so after I mark it, then I am going to use a pair of scissors, and I am just going to cut that area, make a little slit in the design so that when I lay my design down, this area will not be in the way. It will make it easier for me to wrap my design. So I'm just cutting the slits up to where the line is. Then placing the design back on the tumbler, I can line it up, and then my seams will lay down right where the tumbler tabs are for the handles. So it'll just lay down like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of tape, and I am just going to pull this as tight as I can get it to tape the seam down. So I'm just going to pull as tight as I can get it. And then I'm just going to begin to tape the entire seam up. Now I'm going to tape the top of the tumbler to make sure that it's down so that no air gets inside of the tumbler. So I'm going to tape the top edge down. I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom edge. Once the tumbler is taped, I'm going to use my squeegee, and I'm just going to make sure that the seam is flat with the tumbler, making sure that everything is flushed and that the paper is making contact with the tumbler. So I'm just going to use the squeegee. And then I'm just going to also squeegee around the bottom and the top to make sure that the tape is flat. Now the tumbler is ready for the oven. Next, I'm going to place the tumbler into a shrink wrap sleeve. And I'm going to place it so that the handle tabs are on the crease of the shrink wrap, because I want to make sure that I get a good tight fit where the shrink wrap is. And so I'm just going to cut some slits right where the tabs are. I'm just going to cut some slits right there. And then I'm just going to put my handle tabs through the slit. Then I'm going to place some heat tape on the side where I slit. I'm just going to place some heat tape right there, just so I can protect the integrity of the shrink wrap when I start to shrink the shrink wrap. I want it to make sure that it doesn't rip any further than where I've already cut it. So I'm just going to do that part like that. And now I'm going to shrink wrap. Now I'm going to heat my heat press up to 375 for 7 minutes. So while the tumbler is still hot, I am going to remove the shrink wrap. And then I'm going to let the tumbler cool off a little bit before I remove the paper. So I'm going to take this shrink wrap off, and then I'm going to come back when the tumbler has cooled down for me to remove the paper. So now the tumbler is cooled down, and I am going to remove the paper and reveal the tumbler. Look at that, y'all. Look at that. Oh my God, it's so cute. Look at that. Oh my goodness, it's so cute. Oh my goodness. Wow, that is beautiful. Look at that, y'all. That is so beautiful. Wow. Okay, I have a little ghosting right there. Not enough pressure in that area. But overall, I love it. Okay, so let's add the handles back. And so I'm going to add the handles back. Okay, guys. What do you think? Oh my God, it is so beautiful. I love it. I love it. What do you think, guys? All right, guys, that's all for now. I hope that you are able to follow along with my process. If you like this video and would like to see more, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will respond back. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.